Hi, and welcome to Bahana Saddle. My name's Liam, and today we've got professional jockey, Grand National winner, and Cheltenham Festival winner, Ryan Mania. Ryan, lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm all good. Thanks for having me.
You've been up to much lately? I know you've had a few rides the last couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, so that's about it, really.
Yeah.
The jump racing's all consuming through the winter. Obviously, I'm probably not as busy as I'd like to be, but it's still you're still always busy day to day, whether you're riding out or going racing. So that's really all we've been up to. It's pretty boring, really. But it's great to be involved in what we're doing, and it's the build up to Cheltenham now, so we're getting close.
Definitely not so long away now. So let's just take it back to the very start for yourself, Ryan. Where did horse racing begin, obviously, in your career, and how did you get involved in it all?
I suppose kind of by accident. I started riding out for a point-to-point trainer when I was 14. I didn't necessarily have any aspirations of becoming a jockey. But once I started riding his point-to-pointers out and getting them fit for him and things like that, it just kind of got the bug. And there was a couple of other aspiring jockeys in there at the time. They were looking to be amateur jockeys, and so and to be honest, I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and it went from there. Joined we had a Scottish racing school at the time, and so I joined that when I was 16. And yeah, that really got me going and got me started, and I've been very lucky that the whole way through my career that I've came across some really good people who have looked after me and given me opportunities that probably maybe at the time probably didn't even deserve it. They were giving me opportunities beyond my years, type of thing. And as I say, I was being very lucky to come across the right people. So I've been, yeah, very lucky.
And just talk to me a little bit about that experience, obviously joining, obviously, I know we have various racing schools in the country, but just talk to me a little bit about how that experience was and obviously how it shaped you going further on into your career.
I think certainly for me, the racing school gave me a huge start. Obviously, it was in Scotland. The it was a 6 month course, and they did 3 months at college and 3 months on an actual racing yard that was set up for the racing school. Now they fast tracked me straight to the racing yard, which was great. So I didn't have to go and do all the college stuff.
Yeah.
And the people that ran it, the trainer used to be he was an ex-jockey, with his wife who was very experienced within racing, and I learned a hell of a lot. Having left home for the first time and only ever really ridden out in a point-to-point yard, not really been taught the racing way. So I was taught a lot by them, and it really did set the standard for my career. And I think what I realized is that everything they were teaching me and the way that we were riding, everything happened quite naturally, and it was natural to me. And so I enjoyed it, and I learned quickly, and it really did set me up for my future.
And just talk to me a little bit about, obviously, I know you probably spoke to a lot of people along the way, and a lot of people helped you along your journey so far. But did you have any big influences growing up or anyone that influential to your career?
Do you know what? Not really. There's been a lot, but not one that I would kind of single out. But I'm a great believer in that you listen to everyone. So you basically shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Is a thing. As a young jockey coming up, you don't want to be too vocal and too cocky and all that kind of stuff. So I was always just listening and watching and taking everything in. And I think that would obviously be the advice I'd give to anyone trying to get started is just listen to as much as you can, whether it's good advice, bad advice, or whatever. You can cipher through it and work out what the best ones are. But yeah, just listen to everything and never try and miss an opportunity. Grab everything with both hands.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, on our channel, obviously, we look at the perspective of obviously all the people behind the scenes of racing, such as like the grooms, the head travellers, everyone out who the unsung heroes of the sport, shall we say. How important do you think they are to obviously horse racing? Obviously, they're a massive part, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, you couldn't run the industry without them. That's one thing with being a jockey. You turn up on the day and you get on the horse and you do your job. And it's always quite slightly unfortunate that obviously, we go there, the jockeys get the credit, the horse gets the credit, the trainer, whatever.
Yeah,
But it's all the stable staff that are doing the job day in,
yeah,
day out in horrible weather. And, it really is not an easy job. You're up at the crack of dawn and you're
yeah.
you're you're working in the rain, sleet, snow, everything. You've really got to love what you're doing. And without them, there wouldn't be an industry. So it's hugely, hugely important. And I think there's a bit of a crisis at the moment. There's not as many people going into it. It's not as
Yeah.
attractive to some people as it used to be. So the good staff are difficult to find. So it is difficult, but they are so, so important.
No, definitely are vital, and hopefully we can get more people involved in racing as much as possible. So let's just take it back to the very, obviously, your first ride on the rules. Can you remember that far back? What was that experience like, first day at the racetrack?
I actually don't know what my first ride was on the rules, to be honest. Um, I do remember my first ever ride in a point to point. Um, it was what was the place called? Netherton. It was in Cumbria somewhere, and it was a bog. Like the ground was like knee deep, and it was horrible conditions. And it actually fell. I think it was like 4 or 5 fences from home. So that was my first experience of a race was a faller, and but it didn't dampen my spirits at all. I was desperate to get back on and go again. Genuinely can't remember my first rides under rules. I think so. I'd spent a season point to point and managed a
Yeah,
couple of winners and things. I think I had 12 rides or something like that, and then turned professional. And I was turned professional for quite a couple of small trainers. And then so I was, trying to get some more rides, outside rides, and it was a bit of a struggle to be fair, because I
yeah,
wasn't going into a big yard that would, there were loads of good horses and things like that.
yeah,
Until eventually, so obviously went professional in the summer, and it wasn't until the following year. So obviously, say I went conditional in the August.
yeah,
It wasn't until the March I had my first winner. But that was because I managed to hook up with a trainer called Peter Monteith, who's a Scottish trainer. He's no longer with us now, but he had a yard of 25 horses, but he had so many winners, so many good horses. And it just so happened I was right place, right time. He just lost his conditional. I'd been in a couple of times to ride out for him, and he offered me the job. And when I said earlier that I got given opportunities I didn't necessarily, I'm not sure deserves the right word, but I probably shouldn't have been getting the rides that he was giving me. He was
yeah.
giving me good rides. So I had my first winner for him in March, and I had a double that day, and it just progressed from there. So I was very lucky to be taken under Peter Monteith's wing, and he gave me so many opportunities, and he really, really got me going.
No, it's amazing to hear and a great story as well. So let's just take it back, obviously, to races that you might remember. Obviously, the big Grand National winner back in 2013, and obviously you've had the winner on Vintage Clouds in the Cheltenham Festival. Just talk to me a little bit about them two wins.
Yeah, look, the Grand National was obviously amazing. As a young jockey, it's a race that you always talk about winning. And I think it's only ever a dream, isn't it? It literally
Yeah,
is like that. It's like we all talk about it, but realistically, we're happy to even get a ride in the race. Never mind win it. And it's almost the untouchable thing. That's almost how it feels. So obviously very, very lucky to be in the position to get a ride. And the season before I won it, the horse Aurora's Encore had finished second in the Scottish National.
that's a nice to
Yeah, so we knew going to Aintree that he would stay the trip.
Yeah,
We didn't know very much else because the yard had been in poor form, horse had been in poor form, so we weren't going there thinking that we were going to win, and so but obviously we got a great run round, and he did, and he won convincingly. It was just the most surreal experience I've ever had. Even looking back now, if I was to watch the replay, I'd watch it and think that it wasn't me. It was a bizarre feeling, and one that I probably didn't truly appreciate. I think obviously I was quite young when I won, and I don't think obviously it was amazing, and you take in
yeah,
as much as you can, but you can't. There's no words to describe it, and there's when you're that age, you kind of maybe don't really. appreciate it the way you should, or the way that I would now. And it was only we obviously we won and we had a good season after that, and then I retired. I sort of had issues with my weight, which
Yeah,
looking back, I don't think it wasn't really just the weight. There was lots of things going on in life that I just thought something needed to change, and so I decided to retire, and but then obviously came back a few years later. And
yeah,
so the winner at Cheltenham on Vintage Clouds, that means so much more than the national, because I'd retired, had given up, came back, and then managed something again that I never thought I'd have. I never thought I'd have a festival winner. So to
yeah,
come back, and the festival winner was only about 18 months after I came out of retirement. And so to achieve that and be a bit more mature and grown up, and actually be able to sort of realize what I've achieved and what I've done, that meant so much more to me. And as to say, I'm older and wiser, and
yeah.
was able to appreciate it a lot more. So yeah, so since coming out of retirement, I think I've had quite a lot of big winners,
Yeah.
and every single one of them has been, has meant the world to me. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's some amazing achievements there. And obviously, was there ever a horse you had a certain connection with that you felt good on? Or obviously, speaking about Vintage Clouds, was there ever a horse that you had a really good connection with?
I think there was a horse called Midnight Shadow, that Sue Smith trained as well. I think the one thing that I've never achieved is a Grade One win, and I genuinely thought he would be a horse good enough to win one. He is probably, to date, the best horse I've ridden so
Yeah,
far. And yeah, I won the Paddy Power Gold Cup on him at Cheltenham. The same year I won the Ultima Chase at the Cheltenham Festival. It was the following November I won the Paddy Power, and he was just an amazing animal. Great to ride, and the feeling he gave you, he had so much power underneath you. And a lot of these top jockeys down south, they're riding these horses, every weekend. But it was a rare thing for me to get a shot on something like that. So he would have been probably the one that sticks in my mind. And unfortunately, he left us too early. He broke his back at Doncaster, that same season, and
yeah,
that was devastating, for everybody, for the owner, the trainer, and myself. It's just, when you have a good horse like that, obviously,
yeah.
and something like that happens, there's not just another one knocking on the door. And you think
No,
it's,
definitely.
and when you've got such a good horse, and put his heart on his sleeve the whole time and tried his best, he didn't deserve that. So that was a horrible time. But yeah, certainly at the moment, obviously there's a young horse coming through that I'm riding at the moment that could be as good, but at the moment it's, Midnight Shadow was the best one.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would say for the whole team as well, obviously, because you do get emotionally attached to obviously these athletes and animals and for what they are as well. So let's just go back to sorry, Sue Smith. Obviously, you mentioned earlier. Obviously, you've ridden for other trainers, obviously throughout your career. How much of a big part did they play? Obviously, I know you've ridden two massive winners for Sue. Do they play a big part?
Huge. Obviously, so the start of my career was Peter Monteith, and then in the second half it was Sue and Harvey Smith. Without them, I wouldn't have achieved anywhere near as much as I have. They're very good horse people, great trainers, obviously, and just great people. We had a really good time, but they were tough. They didn't allow any slacking, and they kept you up to your work. They're real grafters, and everybody had to be a grafter, and you had to be in there doing your bit. And yeah, I was very lucky to have been a part of their journey, and for them to be a part of mine. It was really special, to have had the winners that we had together. So yeah, it's, as I say, I owe them a lot.
Yeah, definitely 100%. So let's just obviously, as you mentioned before, obviously you did make the decision to retire back in obviously 2014, and obviously you returned to Saddle back in 2019. So obviously a couple of years later, what did that teach you as a person? Obviously in that gap, and obviously what did it teach you going forward?
Um, I think when I retired, I felt like, I felt the world was against me, type of thing, and no one
Yeah,
was. It was just that, I think I had the weight of too much on my shoulders, and whether it be my personal life or racing life or whatever, it was just everything was
Yeah.
too much. And I think at the time, I've always thought every stage of my life I'm quite mature and quite focused and whatever else. And I think looking back, I realized I wasn't when I
Yeah.
retired. I definitely wasn't. Um, and again, I go back to saying the whole appreciation thing. Like I don't think I fully appreciated winning the national, and then
Yeah.
when I retired, I don't think I fully appreciated how amazing being a jockey is and how much of a privilege it is. Yes, it's very, very hard work that, there's a lot of hard work that nobody has any idea goes on, when you're
Yeah.
traveling, losing weight, even just the riding, getting hurt, all these things that people don't appreciate. And, like when you get punters that have lost their £2 on you and they're
Yeah.
sending you
I
death
love.
threats, you just
Yeah.
think, just
Crazy.
you've no idea what we go through to get to the race
No.
course.
100%.
But it is a privilege, and I didn't appreciate that at the time. And since taking a few years out and reassessing, and obviously, to be honest, when I did retire, I had no intentions of coming back. But I think it
Yeah.
was about 2 years after I retired, I realized that I sort of probably realized that I'd done something wrong, and and then I thought, right, I'm going to have to go back at some point and give it a try. And I'm very, it's very lucky that it's worked out, and I did do that. And um, now I never want to give up.
Yeah.
I
I'll
want to
keep
get want
going.
to want to go on forever. I know it's not realistic, but it's something that now that whereas before I could have gave up very easily, and
Yeah.
now I want to hold on to it for as long as possible because it's just the most amazing thing, being able to do what we do. And yeah, so it's pretty special.
No, it just shows you what the person you are. Very determined as well, isn't it? And determination comes into it. You gotta be when when you are a jockey. So what was that moment like when you got back in the saddle again after all that long break? Was it a
It
good
felt like
feeling?
it felt, yeah, it was amazing, but like it felt like I'd never been away, which was
Yeah.
which was the most surreal thing. It was nearly 5 years that I had off. And I came back, had my first rides at Ayr, and I turned up, and I mean, a lot of the jockeys were like, "What are you doing, you madman? Why- I can't believe you retired and came back. Like, what are you doing?" Um, but so most of them were like that, but in terms of the race itself, like that's what we found strange because obviously we all have our little routines in
Yeah.
in the weighing room in regards to like how we get dressed, like what order you put your socks on and everything, and I do everything the same way every time I'm there. And the routine I had 5 years previous was the same one I did when I first went back, and it was like muscle memory, so it all just happened. And then going out onto the race course, I just felt like I'd never been away, and I just thought that meant I'd done the right thing. Like it didn't feel alien. I wasn't nervous, scared, any of that, and I just thought, well, that's just cemented my idea coming back. It's
Yeah.
the right thing, right thing to do. So.
So obviously going back talking about routines, obviously what does a typical day look like for yourself? I know every jockey's different. So obviously getting up in the morning to going to bed at night.
Yeah, well, obviously, every jockey's different and every day is different depending on
Yeah.
whether you're racing or not. Um, but on a general day, it's up early to go and ride out, and then it's we ride out all morning, come home, have some lunch, and then in the afternoon I'll go to the gym. I'm in the gym at the moment. Doesn't look like it, but it's I have I converted my garage into a gym, so it's got everything that I need. So that if I'm at home with the kids, I can still go to the gym. I don't have to go anywhere, which makes a huge difference. Obviously, on a day where there's racing, depending on where the racing is, you might not ride out beforehand. I really do like to do some exercise before I go racing. So, if wherever is I'm needed riding out isn't on the way racing or whatever, I'll just get up, go to the gym, and then go racing. And obviously the race meets can be quite far away, so you're in the car for a long time, and then you can be back quite late at night. But yeah, it's nice that I couldn't sit in an office 9 to 5 and
No.
be there and have nothing happening. So it's great that every day's different. you're dealing with different people, obviously different horses. Everything is different. You never know what's going to happen in a day. When you've got horses involved, you never know what's going to happen. So it keeps you guessing and it keeps it really fun. So it's not a job that you could ever get bored of. But the one thing is you've got to like your own company because like you're up early and I'm driving somewhere myself and you spend some time with people, but then you're driving out again yourself. Like when I'm
Yeah.
at home, I'm working out in the gym myself, all that kind of thing. You've got to like your own company, which luckily, I'm quite happy on my own. So yeah, it's fine.
No, definitely. And obviously, I know it's like such a physical demand of obviously being a jockey, but on the other side as well, it's very mentally as well. You got to be mentally strong as well. How do you feel? Obviously, I know you did mention that. Obviously, you're traveling alone a lot. Obviously, weight issues and stuff like that. How do you fit it all into one? And obviously, work for them. That.
Yeah, I think in as being a jockey, I think probably in any professional sport, the mental side is probably more than the physical, but being a jockey, I think highlights that more. I obviously haven't got any hands-on experience in any other sport, but I do know that when you're in a team, you're in a team environment, you've got your mates there, you like
Yeah.
you're there for each other. Um, and in the weighing room, whilst we all talk and we're all friendly and respectful, but obviously on the race course, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And it's not like we travel together. Sometimes we do, depending on what we're doing in the mornings, but you're very isolated. And obviously it is a huge mental thing, and it's difficult when you're driving back from the races after a bad day, and you haven't maybe got anyone to talk to really, or somebody that understands. That's the hard part. So I think being a jockey has to be the mental side is far, far more than the physical. You just won't manage if you're not mentally strong. You just won't manage. There's too much too much going on, and it's too isolating if you can't deal with it all, and it's yeah, really not very easy. But as I say, I love it. I'm
Yeah.
used to it. It's something that obviously before I retired, maybe I wasn't dealing with it very well.
Yeah.
But since coming back, I think I understand it better, understand myself better, and understand a lot of things a lot better. And it's something that I've learned to deal with, and yeah, but it never gets any easier finding the motivation like tonight, like when
Yeah.
once we finish this, I should really begin getting into the gym and doing a workout. But finding the motivation is really, really
Yeah.
hard.
Exactly.
But I always think I love Formula One. I'm pretty obsessed with Formula One. And look, all these guys are, it's all about their performance, on their own, but they have a huge team behind them. They get out the car, they've got their trainers, their physios or whatever.
Yeah.
I've yet to find a sport that is anything like being a jockey where we're just, we have a
It's
support
on the
network,
go.
don't get me wrong, we have the PGA and we have
Yeah.
people that we can talk to, but in general, you're pretty isolated, and it's a really hard thing to live with and deal with. But yeah, as I say, it takes a different kind of person, really.
No, definitely. And we had Russell Ryan on the show as well. And obviously, he's obviously races all over the world. And obviously, he said he just wanted to get away from it all and obviously go back to Ireland and just be with family and stuff like that and
Yeah.
reset. Like obviously, your mind resets all the time. Obviously, with obviously he's all around the country and all around the world. Obviously, I think you need that time where you just switch off,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yep, you've got to get off the hamster wheel at some point.
Yeah,
You can get far too like absorbed by racing. You go from one meeting to the next, one yard to the next. You're dealing with owners, trainers, everyone's at you. You're trying to ride in races, and I mean, I suppose that in that sense is like any sport, any job. You need time away from it. You need to
yeah,
reset, spend time with your family, and I think what's different for me now than what it used to be is that I can come home. Doesn't matter what I've done through the day or whatever. I come home to the kids, and the kids are pleased to see me, and I can hang out with them.
yeah,
And I think that's a huge thing because you come through the door and you try your best to leave your troubles, in the car,
yeah.
but it's never that easy. But as soon as I see the kids and you give them a cuddle and things, that just puts it into perspective. You reminds you that it's not life's not all about your job. It's not all about the racing. There is more to it. out there. There's a big old world out there. You needn't bother stressing about the little things, and just move on to the next day. And that's how I try and live my life, really.
Definitely. So let's learn a little bit about yourself, Ryan, away from the track. Is there any other hobbies or sports? Obviously, we know you like the gym. Is there anything else you like? Obviously, when you try to switch off
Yeah,
from
let's
racing.
say I'm at Formula One and rugby, really. Um, I'm completely obsessed with Formula One. Love it. I never miss a practice session or a race or whatever. I'm watching it all the time. And the same with rugby. I love my rugby. Even I played this year, didn't I? Yeah, I played 2 games in the autumn this year, just for my local team. I try and do that every year, and because I go to their pre-season training. It's good
Yeah.
for me. They start in July, and there's not a lot of racing at all. Sort of July, August, September. So I do some pre-season rugby training just to get fit, and then I always end up playing 1 or 2 games because I can't help myself. So yeah, so I love doing that, and I think that gives you the whole team environment, which is something that we miss being a jockey. So it's kind of scratches that itch a little bit. It's good to be part of a team. So yeah, we're mostly rugby and Formula One. But to be fair, in terms of an actual hobby, I don't actually have a hobby.
No.
I've been discussing this with the wife quite a lot, and I was like, I could do with a hobby, like something, like some people might go off fishing or golfing or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
That I don't do any of that. So yeah, it's something that's on my mind and something that I'll have to look into doing.
Definitely. So obviously, think about obviously teenage years. Was it ever a plan B? Was it always being a jockey, or was there anything else in your mind?
There was never a plan B. Um, my auntie and uncle live on a farm, and so I spent a lot of time on the farm as a kid, and so it was kind of like horses or farming. So like I love the kind that kind of lifestyle. As I say, I couldn't sit in an office,
Yeah.
so so the idea of being a farmer, like being out and about, so that kind of lifestyle, certainly a country kind of lifestyle, it'd have to be something like that. But there's never really been a plan B for what I would do. Like I filled a gap when I was retired, but it was never a career. It was just something I filled a gap with, and so yeah, so it's I don't know. Like when I finish being a jockey, I still don't really know what I'm
What
gonna
you want
do.
to do?
Like I would love to train horses, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's the way racing's going, it's getting increasingly difficult to find investment and owners and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's not something that you can jump into, without having someone to help you. And so yeah, I still don't really know what I'm gonna do. So I just have to keep riding for the meantime.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned your wife and your children there. How much of an influence have they been obviously on your career? And obviously it must be hard, obviously, going out all the time and stuff. Obviously I can imagine what you do every day. It's for them, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's for them. I mean, yes, I love what I do and everything, but let's not beat around the bush. It's for money. It's a job, and you've got to make money to support your family, and that's the main reason why you do it. Obviously, I could never work in a job I don't enjoy, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love what I do, but that's who you're doing it for. So, no, look, hugely supportive. My wife gets it. She understands, if I'm
Yeah.
away a lot, and when I'm trying to lose weight to ride, and might spend the whole night sweating in the bath or something, and there's a lot goes on that say that people don't see, and so I'm very lucky to be have huge supporters here, and as they say, the kids always brighten up my day when I'm having a bad one, and so no, I'm very, very lucky. And that's the kind of support that you need. If I was coming home to an empty house, it might not be the same. That that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's kind of dangerous territory, really, when you're stuck in a dark room all alone with your thoughts. But when you're coming home to people that love you, it's a lot better.
No, that's amazing to hear. We're just going to ask you a few quick fire questions now, Ryan, if that's okay. So, what's
Yep,
the best race course you like to ride at?
Kelso.
Favorite race horse you've ridden on?
Racehorse.
Yeah, favorite winner.
I'll have to say Aurora. I'll have to better say Aurora's Encore.
What's one race you'd love to win? I know that's not many, but there's obviously one.
Any grade one, any
Any
grade one.
grade one.
I'm not picky. I'll take any grade one. Yeah.
Let's hope for that the next year or so. But what's the most you've learned from a trainer? One thing you've learned.
Oh, not to be a trainer. Um, I think obviously there was not one thing, but I learned a hell of a lot from Sue and Harvey Smith.
Yeah,
Harvey in particular in regards to riding and how you look at a fence and how you approach the fence. I think it's probably one of my strengths as a jockey that I'm good at presenting a horse to an obstacle. Whilst I probably had that naturally before I went to Sue and Harvey, Harvey enhanced it. So yeah, that would be the main thing. As I say, there's Harvey teaches you a lot without, you know, there's too many things to go into, but like there was just a
yeah.
lot of even about being a person, you know, like he taught me a hell of a lot.
Favorite cheat meal?
A cheat meal pizza.
Pizza, big fan. What's your
Pizza.
toppings?
Do you know what? Anything with meat on it.
There you go.
So like I'm not that picky, just so long as it's, you know, not too thick a crust. Proper pizza, and yeah, just some meat, maybe some barbecue sauce, something like that.
Favorite artist or song?
Oh God, too many. Honestly,
Too
like
many.
I love my music, but I don't particularly like one genre.
All right.
You know, like when I'm in the gym, I love a bit of dance music. When I'm in the
Yeah.
car, there's a bit of country music, and it's just literally anything I like the sound of. I don't have one particular favorite. I listen to a huge, yeah, so many different ones.
Do you have any superstitions or rituals at the race course? Anything you do before you go out for a race?
Touch wood.
That's it.
A lot of us do that. Like on your way out to the paddock, there'll always be wood somewhere on your way out, and you'll see us all just touching it, and that's the only sort of superstition that I have.
And what's one race horse we should look out for the next couple in this season or next season?
Well, the obvious one is Manila Study, who is going for the Triumph Hurdle at Cheltenham in a couple of weeks. He's the obvious one to watch out for. In terms of a horse that hasn't ran yet, there's a horse that Paul Robson trains called Maximus Oxo, which I like a lot. He's going to end up running in a bumper in the not too distant future. Not necessarily a bumper horse, but I think he's going to be a nice horse going forward. So he'd be one that hasn't ran yet that people should watch out for.
Amazing. So we're going to end on a few couple of questions. Obviously, we can't not talk about Cheltenham, which is obviously 2 weeks away, and obviously we've got the Aintree Festival as well, not so long away as well. You're looking forward to that? Obviously, do you think you'll have many rides there?
Yeah, look, I'll definitely all being well. I mean, we still need to get there. You know, a lot can happen with a horse between now and Cheltenham. So I've just got the Manila Study on the Friday and the Triumph Hurdle. I think he's still the highest rated juvenile in the country at the moment. So look, he's about third or fourth in the betting. He's got a huge chance. So hopefully he can go and just run his race. You know, whilst even though we've got a chance, we're not going down thinking we're going to win. We're not that, you know, it's Cheltenham, anything can happen. But you know, it's nice to be going down with a realistic chance. And as I say, that at the moment he would be the only one. Adam Nichol also has Wise Eagle entered in the county hurdle, but he runs at Kelso this weekend, so it depends how he runs there, whether he goes for the county or not. And he's quite low down the handicap, so he might not even get a run. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those are the only ones at the moment, unless Willie Mullins gives me a shout, but I think it's highly unlikely. So.
Yeah, let's hope so. So you have a few winners at the festival. So I just want to ask you two questions now at the end of the podcast. If you could, obviously, if anyone was watching out there, would you whoever's helped you along the way in your career so far, what would your message be to them?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Um, I've never forgotten anyone that's helped, and honestly, that I would there's no way I would even try and name them all because there's been
Yeah.
so many.
Mhm.
And the way that as I say, the way that I listen to everyone, and no matter how good or bad the advice is, I've taken something away from every conversation. So there's been so many people that have helped or not helped, but tried to, and
Yeah.
there's any amount of them, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated. It always is, and if hopefully by me being relatively successful, if I've paid back some of their help and advice over the years, and they're just happy to see me do well, then hopefully that's enough. But I'm certainly owe a lot of people a lot of favors, put it that way, and yeah, it's greatly appreciated.
And one last question: what's one bit of advice you give to anyone looking on, obviously not just being a jockey, but any role in horse racing or equestrian?
Work hard, work hard, and then work harder. Like you've got to show willing, you've got to go the extra mile. And as I say, no back chat. Shut up and listen, and work as hard as you can. I think that gets you quite far in anything that you're doing. And also be confident, be sure of yourself. Like in this game, you've got to be confident, otherwise you couldn't do it. So yeah, um, be confident and try your best.
All amazing. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you today, and obviously hearing
You
you
too.
throughout your whole career, and obviously in horse racing, and obviously in being a jockey, and obviously we hope for many more years in the saddle as well, and hopefully more winners to come as well.
Well, we'll keep trying anyway. Yeah, we'll keep kicking on and keep trying to ride some more winners.
Cheers, Ryan.